Hello students, welcome to the 10th online lecture for the subject of sociology. We will continue with the second chapter of our textbook, that is Segments of Indian Society. In the previous lecture, we studied about the problems of rural community and its development efforts. Today we will start with the third segment of Indian society, that is urban community. Let's start with the introduction of urban community. Due to industrial development, there is urbanization, as a result of which urban communities have emerged. Urban community includes towns, cities and metros with their different way of life. We can identify a community as urban with the help of different criteria. For example, density of population, types of occupation, social organization, having a distinct ecology, and culture different from that of the dominant culture. Although it is very difficult to define city or urban community, let us see some of the definitions of urban community. According to Max Weber, 5 attributes define an urban community. It must possess, number 1, a fortification, number 2, a market, number 3, a law code and court system of its own, number 4, an association of urban citizenry creating a sense of municipal corporateness, and number 5, sufficient political autonomy for urban citizens to choose the city's governors. According to Lewis Worth, the city refers to a relatively large, dense and permanent settlement of socially heterogeneous individuals. In simple terms, an urban area is a human settlement with a high population density and infrastructure of built environment. Urban areas are categorized as cities, towns or suburbs. Urban areas are created and further developed by the process of urbanization. Urbanization is a part of the development process. Now we will study some of the basic characteristics of urban community in India. They are: number 1, heterogeneity. Number 2, high density of population. Number 3, different occupations. Number 4, large scale social mobility. Number 5, secondary relations. Number 6, market-based economy. Number 7, advanced infrastructure. Number 8, nuclear family. Number 9, class consciousness. Number 10, formal social control. Number 11, complex division of labor. Let's study these characteristics one by one in detail. The first characteristic is heterogeneity. Urban community is the settlement of socially heterogeneous people. In urban areas, we will find people belonging to diverse groups such as class, occupation, caste, language, and religion, etc., all living in the same territory. People living in urban community have different ways of thinking and behaving, habits, morals, beliefs and practices, food and dressing habits, etc. There is continuous migration of people from tribal and rural areas to urban areas in search of employment, education, healthcare, and with the hope of raising the standard of living. There are wide differences in their ways of living of urban people. Heterogeneity can be an advantage because it creates a cosmopolitan and tolerant approach, but it can also create tensions. The second characteristic is high density of population. As urban society is diverse and complex, the degree of urbanity is greater here. In urban communities, there is a merge or mixture of many cultures. Cities and towns have a higher density of population due to large population in smaller areas, therefore it is relatively large in size. Urban community is the center of industry, trade and commerce, education, health and recreation. Hence, there is a steady influx of people pouring into urban centers. It leads to the extension of city and suburbs comes into existence. The city turns into metropolitan city. Availability of advanced means of transportation and communication is proving helpful to the extension of cities. Major cities are like urban octopuses, driving people into their areas of influence. The third characteristic is different occupation. Occupations are more specialized. There is widespread division of labor and specializations are numerous. The occupation in urban areas is mainly non-agricultural, that is based on manufacturing, trade and commerce, professional and governance, services, etc. Various types of occupation and services such as industries, factories, markets, educational, recreational and health centers, system of transport and communication, governmental, non-governmental and private offices exist in the city. Urban people work and earn their livelihood in non-agricultural occupations. The fourth characteristic is large-scale social mobility. There is vast scope for social mobility in urban community. As urban people adapt to the class structure, social mobility increases, thus breaking down caste barriers. Achieved status, which is based on education and occupation, is given greater value when compared to ascribed status, which is based on birth. An individual can rise on the basis of qualification and merit. For example, a clerk may become a collector, a laborer may become an industrialist on the basis of his ability. On the contrary, inefficient and incapable industrialist may become laborer, that is, high status of person may decline also. The city provides countless opportunities to an individual to change his place, occupation, and social status. The fifth characteristic is secondary relations. The urban community is a secondary group. In urban areas, interaction among people is largely based on anonymity and secondary contacts. It is not personal nor face to face, rather characterized by formal interactions and impersonal relationships which tend to become time bound and based on vested interest. Cultural diversity, formal communication, friend circle are hallmarks of cities. For example, people spend their leisure time at multiplexes, gardens, hotels, social clubs, and markets, etc. People in urban areas mostly do not take personal interest in others' matters. Even the neighbors are often found to be strangers. Such type of relations is known as secondary, and urban community is dominated by such relations. The sixth characteristic is market-based economy. The economic organization of cities is based on its market and financial system. Marketization is an essential feature of urban centers today. Example, e-marketing, e-biz, etc. The market is profit driven. This creates individualistic attitude where the profit motive guides most activities. The seventh characteristic is advanced infrastructure. Urban facilities like gas, telephone, drinking water, internet connection, road networks, airports, metro rail, shopping malls, and commercial centers, etc., are typically seen in cities. City development plans are revised frequently to include diverse civic amenities such as roads, electricity, water, garbage treatment plants, etc. The eighth characteristic is nuclear family. Due to urbanization, joint families are comparatively less in number because it has given rise to nuclear families. Urban life is influenced by individualism, that is, people in urban area are more individualistic in their attitude. This individualism has led to the significant increase in nuclear families. Family is less stable today. It is the individual who is given more importance than the family as a unit. The ninth characteristic is class consciousness. People are more class conscious and progressive. They are exposed to modern development in the field of science and technology. There is greater awareness about one's rights as well as participation in movements to protect them. The 10th characteristic is formal social control. Formal means of social control such as formal education, law and legislation, police and court are needed in addition to informal means for regulating the behavior of people. Traditional authority vested in figures such as family elders, religious leaders, and teachers have decreased greatly. The last characteristic is complex division of labor. A very clear and specialized division of labor is found in every walk of life. People are trained for their job and skills according to institutional and professional requirements. An interdependence of professions is observed in almost all fields of life. For example, in medical profession, there are gynecologists, radiologists, pediatricians, cardiologists, and physicians. With this, we completed definition, meaning, and characteristics of urban community. We will study about the problems of urban community and its development efforts in the next lecture. Thank you.